Welcome to this gentle, chair-based yoga practice. I'm Nicole Hale, social work student and intern at Montgomery County Women's Center. For this practice, you'll want to choose a chair, preferably one with no arms, and if you'd like, you can remove your shoes or leave them on. That's up to you. We'll begin in a comfortable seat with knees above ankles. You're welcome to close your eyes or cast your gaze downward, whichever is more comfortable for you. When you're ready, give yourself a moment to notice where you're sitting. Get a feel for the chair you're in right now. What does the texture of the surface underneath you feel like? Maybe you notice the ground, or maybe you don't sense anything at all, and that's okay. We're just experimenting a little. From here, maybe you become aware of the soles of your feet, making contact with the ground. You can tap your heels or your toes, feeling the contact with the ground. And you may notice, if you sit slightly forward, that you might be able to create some space around your spine. You can practice with your own comfort. So if for any reason at all, during this practice, you experience pain, you can always sit back. In your own time, take a few moments to notice how you're feeling today. And when you're ready, you're welcome to experiment a little more with movement. Maybe flowing from side to side, forward and back. Just start to get a feeling for the space around you. And just for today, you might begin flowing in a circular movement, going in either direction, to the right, to the left, alternating between each. Just beginning to feel the space around you and sensing your body in relation to that space. Whenever you'd like, you're welcome to guide yourself back toward neutral or stillness. And maybe now you experiment with lengthening up a little through the crown of your head. As you sit up taller, you may notice that you can extend slightly through the top of your head. What does that feel like to sit up comfortably tall? Do you notice any sensations in your back or in your spine? You may have also become aware of your breath. Maybe you're breathing through your nose or your mouth. Doesn't matter. Whichever you choose. You're just noticing the feeling of breathing and sitting comfortably in the chair. Breathing with some awareness. You might pause for a moment and try breathing through your nose for a few cycles. And then, if you'd like, you can shift to breathing through your mouth. Do you notice any difference between the two? Is your experience that one style of breathing is more comfortable for you than the other? If so, just notice. If not, that's fine. And when you're ready, you can come back to your natural breath. You might decide at this time to experience more movement. Maybe you start by turning your chin side to side and bring awareness to how that feels and how you have control over the range of movement. You can make the movement small or bigger. That's up to you. Just focus on how you feel and continuing to breathe normally. You can pause on one side or the other. Continuing maybe for 3, 2, and 1. Whenever you're ready, you might continue by tilting your head to one side, allowing your right ear to float towards your right shoulder. Maybe you stay there for a moment, taking a few breaths. And when you tilt, you might feel the muscles on one side lengthening. And if you're interested, you can bring your other hand to one side and just notice how those muscles feel. Taking a couple of breaths here. And when you're ready, you can switch to the other side, allowing your left ear to float down to your left shoulder and noticing how the other side feels in this moment. Taking a few more breaths. Maybe at this time you come back to neutral. And for our next exercise, you might investigate what it feels like to nod your head yes by slowly dropping and then lifting your chin. And continuing to breathe. Maybe you notice a sensation in the space in the back of your neck as your chin drops down, and then in the front of your neck as you lift your chin. And you might notice the control that you have as you drop and lift your chin. Maybe now you explore a little by tilting your chin down a bit more. And then you might notice a sensation around the back of your neck. And then maybe you decide to lift your chin a bit more and tilt your head back. And you become aware of the sensation in the front of your neck. This sensation, it's caused by the muscles stretching. Can you feel the change as you either lift the chin higher or tilt it further down? If you notice that it becomes uncomfortable at all, you can always decrease the sensation by bringing your head back toward neutral. Maybe at this time you feel like doing some shoulder rolls. Allowing your shoulders to move up toward your ears, down, and then back. Continuing to breathe. Notice that you can roll your shoulders in both directions. Maybe you roll them down and back a few times while breathing. And then you decide to switch directions, allowing them to come up and then down. Up, forward, and down. And again, just experimenting with movement around your shoulders, breathing and moving. You might now try bringing your fingertips to the top of your shoulders and then make circles with your elbows. And again, noticing how you can make those circles with your elbows in both directions. So feel free to change the direction of both or either elbow. And you have a choice whether to make the movement small or bigger. Notice how there might be some different muscles involved in this movement. As you make the movement small and then you choose to make it bigger. Just notice what that feels like in your shoulders. And maybe in your chest while you're breathing. Maybe now, with your hands still on your shoulders, you continue the stretch by bringing your elbows apart as you inhale And then bringing them together as you exhale. Again, maybe trying apart as you inhale, and then together as you exhale. You may notice a different sensation through your back and your shoulders. Maybe do this a few more times while continuing to breathe and at your own pace. Now, you might decide to come back to neutral, to lower your arms, lower them by your side, and maybe you shake out through your hands. You roll your shoulders. Maybe you open and close your hands. Opening and then closing your hands, making a fist, and then opening again. Noticing what that feels like. Okay, so that was the neck and shoulders. Maybe we can experiment with some other movements. Continuing into a spinal stretch. You may decide to place your hands on your knees, your left hand on your left knee and your right hand on your right knee while sitting up tall. If you'd like to continue, maybe find a slight arch in your back. As you inhale, while allowing your chest to expand and your crown to lift up. And then maybe you allow your head to gradually tilt back as you're inhaling. Notice the sensations in your back, maybe even your stomach. And then as you exhale, maybe you roll your spine, allow your chest to move toward your thighs, rounding your mid-back muscles toward the back of the chair. Maybe tilting your chin down. And then continuing, inhaling and exhaling. Arching your back on the inhale and rounding on the exhale at the pace of your own breath. Inhaling as you arch your back and exhaling as you round it. For the count of 3, 2, and 1. Gradually allowing your seated position to come back to neutral, that upright seated posture. Now maybe you notice your feet on the ground and your spine is tall. And you might observe some broadening and expansiveness across your chest as you breathe in and out. And when you're ready, you might allow your body to move forward, sitting near the edge of your chair. If you'd like to try a seated twist, and maybe you first move your knees slightly wider than your hips. And as you breathe in, if you choose, you can place your left hand on your right knee. And as you allow your body to twist to the right, as you exhale, maybe your right hand grabs the seat behind you, or the arm if your chair has arms. Wherever you'd like. Just feel free to give yourself a moment to breathe in this position. You might notice a slight twist works for you. Or maybe you want to twist a little more while continuing to breathe. And then on the count of 3, 2, and then 1, you may decide to unwind through the middle and choose to experience what it feels like on the other side, and in the same way. Just noticing how that feels to turn your body. When you're turning to one side, you can investigate how it feels to turn your chin toward that shoulder, maybe glancing toward the wall behind you. Making sure you can breathe comfortably and there's no pain. If you feel any pain or any discomfort at all, please be willing to back down. You have that control. You always have that control. And when you're ready, gently return back to neutral, to that upright seated posture. And slowly open your eyes if they're closed. And if you'd like, you can bring your feet a little farther apart than your hips. And as you begin to experiment with this forward fold, you may want to try several options. You can lean your forearms into your thighs. This may be enough for you today. You can also allow your fingertips to touch the floor. Or maybe you decide to bring your hands to the floor. You can try one option, and if that doesn't work, try something else. Just take a moment to experiment. When you're ready, you may wish to gently shake your head yes and no, allowing the muscles in your neck and your upper back to just release a little bit. Notice when you're breathing in a forward fold, you might feel the back muscles moving. And if it's available to you, allow yourself to breathe freely in this position for about 10 seconds. And when you're ready, begin to move slowly and gently back toward your upright seated posture at your own pace, allowing your breath to be free and easy. Maybe just pause for a moment to get reoriented to sitting up tall. You might notice the length of your spine. Maybe you allow your shoulders to be at ease. What does it feel like to have a tall spine and allow your shoulders to drop a little? Maybe for a moment, we can experiment with some core strength postures while sitting back in the chair. We could begin by sitting up tall and holding on to the side of the chair, and then reclining back just a little, and then holding and breathing. When you recline and hold, maybe you feel some of your stomach muscles engaging a little. And maybe you decide to explore what it would feel like to lean a little further back. Maybe you release your hands from the side of the chair. And you take a few breaths there. And when you're ready, you can sit back up, and maybe you notice how those muscles that were engaged just now, they've eased up just a bit. Maybe you notice the change from being intense to less intense. Maybe now you pause for a breath. And if you want, you can try one last stretch for today by placing your right foot on the floor directly under your right knee. And maybe you gradually lift your left ankle and set it just above the right knee, noticing how that feels. In your own time, when you're ready, you might explore what it's like to flex and point your left foot. Maybe you experiment by putting your left hand on your left knee and your right hand on your right ankle. And as you gradually lean the top part of your body forward, your torso forward, notice how that feels. Do you notice a sensation in the back or the side of your left leg? Maybe you notice it somewhere else. Does that sensation change as you lean forward and lean back? While still noticing your breath, maybe you choose to stay here for 3, 2, and 1. If you'd like, and when you're ready, you can gradually sit up and allow your left foot to float down to the floor directly under your left knee. And if you choose, you can continue on the other side by gradually lifting your right ankle and setting it just above the left knee. Notice how that feels. Does the sensation feel different on this side than it did on the other? Maybe you find that you can lean forward as you did on the other side. And while still noticing your breath, maybe you choose to stay here for a while longer. Or maybe not. It's your choice. When you're ready, you can gradually allow your right foot to come back to the floor. Getting oriented to wherever you're touching the ground now, whatever part of your body is connected to a chair or the floor, whatever surface is underneath you. And finally, just getting oriented to your breath. Your natural breath. Become aware that you're breathing in and breathing out. And if you'd like, just pause for a moment here and notice how you feel. And at your own pace, when you're ready, slowly opening your eyes if they're closed. Thanks so much for joining me today. The practice of gentle chair yoga is now complete.